Hi everyone. So my name is Ngoni Diana Gerald, and for those that know me, know that I'm one of the faces behind Chiedza. There will be a lot more coming out of the woodwork. So hopefully, getting to meet the team. We're very excited for you seeing what we've been up to very soon. But to begin with, I feel like I need to sort of share my story, who I am, what happened to me, and why Chiedza has become like a brand. Because for those that know, there is Chiedza the book, but it's taken a life of its own. So yeah, here it goes. So, of being a writer, I guess I could sit here and just look into the camera and tell you my story, but then, it's already been like 5, 10 takes, and I don't like what I'm saying. So I'm just gonna read it off of paper, and be happy with that. And hopefully, if you've got questions, then we can have honest conversations and get things going. Now, I've chosen to title this "What Happens After Survival." We carry more than memory, we carry each other. That is a recurring theme in Standing on Our Last Bonds, my latest poetry collection, and Chiedza, Reflections on Darkness, Light, and the moments in between. It really sort of set the bar for what is to come, the brand, who I am, my resilience. Hopefully, my confidence will be back as well, which would be really amazing. Now, there are versions of grief that nobody prepares you for. The grief of becoming someone new, the grief of watching your body stop cooperating with your future, the grief of surviving something and still having to wake up the next day. A few years ago, I stopped recognizing myself. And honestly, I do think that a lot of people are walking through the same path, just like invisible battles, but we want visible futures. And that is the story of how Chiedza was born. Before any of the titles, that is Zimbabwean born British poet, writer, speaker, chronic illness advocate, accounting and finance graduate, yes, thought leader, innovator as well. I guess we're just going to start by saying that I'm a girl who was raised by prayer, my grandmother's love, women in my family that showed me softness, greatness, survival, and being able to take all of those best and worst qualities and bringing them into, my life, my experiences. It's shaped all of it. I was born in Zimbabwe, in Harare, at my grandmother's house, Gogo. She used to sing a lot. She loved the Bible. We used to go to camp meetings. Um, she used to make me write all of the Bible verses and everything. Um, and that love expressed, it was not performance. I look at it now and I just think how lucky I was. Actually, it's unfortunate that I didn't document most of it, but because you're living in the moment and it's so exciting. And back then, the thought that she wouldn't be here now, it didn't even occur to me that I needed to record her voice, record her prayers, her singing. Because one of the worst things that could happen, that I fear the most, is forgetting a voice. And maybe that's why my work has that softness, tenderness, survival, confidence, resilience in it. And before all of that, ambition had sort of taken over. My family had moved here in 2012, and migration is very daunting. Having to change everything about your life, how you talk, the food that you eat, the places that you go to. I'm from a very small town called Chinoi. I don't even know our own Harare, the capital city. It's all very like daunting, and then the next thing you know, you're in the middle of London and expected from yourself as well to excel. Now, I did my fair share of excelling. For those that know, you can Google. I've done my bit. And come 2021, everything changed. My grandmother passed away. I got the first injection to travel, the COVID vaccine. I traveled, buried Gogo, came back, quarantined, had the second jab. And, something just told me that everything was not okay. But at the time, I thought it was the grief. I thought, my love for my grandmother was just so consuming. But then at some point, I realized that because I'm a Christian and we've got the hope that we'll meet them again, something else was going on. And I started going to hospitals, talking to different doctors, advocating for myself. When you start losing your memory, your mobility, your motor skills, dysautonomia, endometriosis, adenomyosis, MCAS, POTS, neurological complications, surgeries, appointments, the silence, the fear, the wheelchair. And the hardest part wasn't even like the illness itself. It was the grief, because chronic illness doesn't only affect your body, it changes everything about your identity. You lose your certainty, your independence, your stability, routine, confidence, the version of yourself that you've known the longest and loved. And there's another grief that people don't talk about, and that's the grief of not being believed, because you start sounding like you're crazy. And if you're stubborn like I am, then you're going to sound even crazier, because you're arguing and advocating for yourself. And the truth changes because you start doubting yourself. And I didn't get my old life back when I started getting better, started understanding what was happening to me. And there is no words to explain the pain that has no visible language, if that makes sense. And the body keeps score long enough after people stop asking how you are, who you are, how they can help. That experience changes you forever, but it also reveals something else about you, and how many people are sort of staying because they love you. And I realized I had two choices. I could disappear inside the pain, or I could build something from it. So I built the thing I needed the most, and that is Chiedza, because Chiedza means light. And I didn't name my work after light, but because that light was so bright, even in the darkness, it just fits so perfectly. And what started out as poetry slowly just took a life of its own. I mean, this is hoodie track bottom from Comfort, and it is very comfortable. It's very nice. And first it was writing as the journals, as the reflection tools, the essays, then building a community, the advocacy, the systems, the safer framework, and aftercare mandate. You hear me talk about this a lot more in depth, but this is just us having an introduction, a proper introduction. And Chiedza was never just a brand. It's become an ecosystem for people rebuilding themselves, a sacred space for slow becoming. And we'll be talking about, you'll be hearing a lot about sacred space for slow becoming, because it truly is. Through Chiedza Co, we are creating journals, guided reflections, poetry, wellness tools, and emotional spaces rooted in honesty, faith, healing, and gentleness. Through the Gentle Resolve, which is my Substack, we're writing about grief, chronic illness, womanhood, migration, emotional resilience, faith, and the complicated process of rebuilding your life after disruption. The Chiedza app is coming. I want to create accessible emotional support and wellness resources that people can carry with them daily. And through my advocacy work, including the Safer Framework, the Aftercare Mandate, you'll be hearing a lot more about this. I want to help reshape conversations around chronic illness, patient dignity, emotional safety, and what true recovery should actually mean and take. Because recovery should not feel like abandonment. Some people don't need motivation, they need somewhere safe to fall apart. And honestly, I think the world is craving a lot more gentleness again, humanity again, slowness again, truth again. People are exhausted. I'm talking about people, but also I am exhausted. I'm grieving privately. I grieved privately, still I'm in that process, and there are so many of you out there that are doing the same thing. We're surviving systems that were never designed to hold us gently, softly. And Chiedza exists for those people, for me, for you, for the women rebuilding quietly, for the exhausted caregivers, for the person navigating invisible illness, for the immigrant learning belonging again, for the grieving daughter, for the high achiever in burnout, for the person trying to reconnect with themselves after survival changes who you are, for the people tired of pretending they're okay. This work is for anyone learning how to begin again gently. I believe Chiedza is something much bigger than me, something much bigger than us, a global ecosystem for healing, storytelling, advocacy, reflection, and sacred rebuilding through books, technology, wellness tools, community, media, research, speaking, poetry, faith rooted healing, and emotional, honest conversations that make people feel less alone. I want people to know this. Your life matters. It matters before disruption. It matters especially during disruption. And it will matter after that disruption, because you're not behind. You're surviving. Rest is not weakness. Softness is not failure. Healing is not linear. And becoming takes time. I didn't build Chiedza. We built it because not that we had all the answers, but we needed to start looking for those answers, having these conversations. We built it so that we can all have somewhere we can go to fall apart, pick ourselves, take our own pace, sit with our grief, sit with failure, sit with slow becoming, and come out the other end, learn from other people, and come out the other end as our whole selves that are not the thing that survived the illness. We are this person that's just evolving. And maybe if you're here, part of that is because you need this space too. So welcome. Take what you need, leave what you don't, come back as many times as you want to. Let's have these conversations. We're not rushing here. We're not going anywhere. We're here for the conversations. We carry more than memory. We carry each other. These are sacred spaces for slow becoming. And if you want to be in comfort, do stop by and check out Comfort. I will show you the other cool thing about this hoodie is it's got your, for those that go on planes, some of us that are sensitive to light, recording this video is actual true love because the light is directly in my face. So, sometimes I will come into the dining room and the girls are eating and laughing and talking. I want to join in, but the light is too bright, so I can tone it down. So yes, get comfortable. Let's get comfortable. Let's have the conversations. And I can't wait to hear your stories, for you to share your stories. Thank you for listening. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for waiting and giving us this space. Chiedza Co. Okay, now. That's the end. God.